What's up, men? Welcome to the Male Cartel podcast. Let's get started.
Do you think men are important? Like for what?
Men are not meant to be dominant. Men are meant to be submissive.
Life's too short to exercise. I'm just gonna be honest.
It's okay to be fat.
Dispelling toxic masculinity and really redefining what it means to be a man. Men can cry. So it's okay to be weak. It's okay to be weak.
I'm telling you right now, not everybody wants to see you win.
You seem to be more woman than you are man. You don't have any manly qualities.
You give them this message that it's okay to be a man.
It's not okay, it's necessary. How are we going to do without men? You look around the city here, you see all these buildings go up, these men, they're doing impossible things.
It ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done.
Be a dangerous man. Being dangerous is not being a threat. They're two different things. You can't be a good man if you're not a dangerous man. You say one disrespectful thing to my wife, I am not only willing, but I'm able to inflict great bodily damage.
I'm going to do everything in my power to become a victor and not a victim. I can't explain it, but you better feel me. Winners win and losers lose. I can't explain it any better than that. I don't know how it happens, but winners win. And if you create a culture of losing, if you keep being a victim, if you keep letting losing happen to you, if you keep letting people do you and treat you any kind of way, it's going to become a culture. What's the matter with you? There is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow.
Here's your host, Nick and Shane.
Hey, we back.
What's up, Male Cartel?
What's up, guys? I'm looking at Nicholas Carnes, and he looks like you. Did you shave? You shave your beard and stuff, trim it up every day, or it looks thicker now?
Looks thicker now?
It looks thicker, man. You must have put some something on it, some fertilizer. It looks thick.
I gotta do the little mirror thing.
Yeah, look
it looks
at it.
thick.
I think it. Well, I hadn't seen you in a minute, so maybe that's what it is. Maybe.
Yeah. Seems like every episode we're like, all right, we're gonna get back into a good flow of things, and things get busy.
Do you feel?
I probably trimmed about a week ago.
So do you feel like this has been the busiest season coming from the first of the year? Do you feel like this is the busiest, or is it like normal for you?
No, I mentioned it episode or two ago that this has been the busiest start to a year that I've ever had that I remember, so at least as a pastor.
Well, 2 episodes ago, all right, from that point to now, it seems to be been busy. It seems like you've been busy.
Yeah, I've been out of town once a week, if not more, every week for over a month. Y'all working on a ministry center, and
well, your Hope Church, y'all need to get together. We need to talk to Brian about getting y'all your own jet or something. You know, I mean, everybody's doing it in the charismatic world.
Well, we can't be in a tube with demons, you know. So.
That's true.
Although I'm in my car. Well, Jesse Young, one of our pastors, he's actually the guy I've been, and he's a faithful listener. Shout out, Jesse. Jesse's an awesome guy. He's our soul care pastor. He has been working on the ministry center up in Brevard that we're working on, and he had his pilot's license. So I've been advocating we help him get his pilot's license, then we can get a jet.
It can't be that much money.
I don't know.
We can get you one of those ones that you just like spray fertilizer or something out. Modify that mug. Yeah, man. Put some, get with Tristan, get some OEM parts to it. You know, modify it, throw some flow masters on it, you know, extend it out.
I want the kind that has that you can land in the water.
Dude, I've always loved that.
Ever since Commando.
Right when they land right on the...
They land right on the water. That was the first time I think I ever saw one of those, and I thought it was the coolest thing.
Me too, man. Dude, I literally forgot about that, and now my mind is thinking about 80s.
I could go home and watch Commando.
Man. Yeah, Commando made you want to do some face paint on your face, too.
Oh, yeah. It was kind of I feel like there was some grabbing from Rambo.
For sure.
Because it shows the scene of him getting ready, but it was still cool.
That's right.
Going after it was like the original Taken.
That's right. That's right.
You take my daughter, I'm coming.
I'm coming for you behind. Yeah, we gotta get a jet. Brian, you hear us? Make it happen, bro. Make it happen. Fast if you need to. Okay, I'm not telling you what to do, but fast really hard. Get everybody from the Hope Church to fast. Get every kid, every young person, young
Fast is
and
not going
old,
to do it. They need to give
the fast. Listen, I'm saying
fast and give
food from food, and then fast from your finances, and give what you fast from finances unto the airplane fund. It'll be awesome. And then Jesse got to take me for a ride in it too.
Just last month, just for the church, 2,500, basically 18 miles just on my truck, and another almost 1,100 on Nikki's car for ministry stuff.
How's your tires on your truck?
Holding up good. They're practically brand new, so I'm wearing them out just like last year.
In the streets, man. That's one thing. If you're just now like kind of getting used to like listening to us, one thing to know is, yes, it has been a busy season for Nick and myself. Super slam. Then number 2, Nick will always be on the streets. He's like the most consistent guy I know. Somebody needs help, he'll drive all the way to West Virginia. He'll just do it. I think the place is in Virginia or West Virginia. Brevard, Virginia.
North Carolina. Brevard is where the ministry center is.
That's right.
And
Brevard.
Yeah,
Brevard.
Jesse was up there doing a lot, and he did a majority of the work himself. And a couple other guys as they came up, but I knew there was stuff he couldn't do by himself, so I just said, well, I'll take a couple days a week as I can and go up and help him. And so we were able to knock out a majority of the stuff. Our deadline was the first Tuesday, just this past Tuesday, so that all of our pastors could come and stay there and participate. And we had our monthly in-person meeting there. And so I wanted to try to help him meet that goal, and we did all but a couple things that we can do over the next few weeks. So it's a nice place. I'll show you pictures and videos later. I was showing them to Cartel the other night, and it's going to be a really nice place.
I'm glad. I'm glad. That's awesome. Yeah, I have nothing like that here, but I do like the mountains. You're more of a mountain guy than a beach guy, right?
Yes,
that's what I thought.
So I've felt drawn there.
I'm more of a beach guy than a mountain guy, but I do enjoy the mountains though.
But you're also a Gator fan, and so
true.
Yeah, everybody has a couple faults.
That's right. That's right. A broken clock is right twice. You know, I think if I was always staggering drunk and getting into wrecks, I'd be a Georgia fan. But it seems like or a Falcons fan.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is.
Or a tight end that murdered people.
Yeah, I mean like
then you could be a Florida
or Patriots. You know, if you want to murder somebody, you know, I think of Ray Lewis. He got like 11 children with 7 different women.
Was he Miami?
He was Miami. Yeah, just don't come to Florida, okay? We like to have babies and kill people. You know what I'm saying? I think
Speaking of killing people, the back of this ministry center, and we're trying to find out, like, does it belong to us? Because it used to be in the name of the church. There's a cemetery. And so I was telling the other pastors, I was like, hey, guys, if you deal with a situation like I just did with a guy, you know, this past year, what better place than a cemetery? Because fresh dug graves in a cemetery aren't suspicious.
That's 100%.
So if you need to deal with something.
How do you feel about that? Why don't y'all have a cemetery here at Hope Church? Here. That'd be awesome. Just put adjacent next to the Harley Davidson place.
Well, if Harley wants to donate some land for that, that's fine. But once you put a cemetery, can't do anything else with that land.
Just do that in the front of Hope Church. Put it out there. When this is what should happen. When you die, Nick, you be the first one buried, bro. At the church, bro. So they will have to. You'll be there, and your whole family. You have a whole plot for the whole family. You even say it to Haley's boyfriend. She gets another boyfriend. You say, hey, this is we're thinking about doing this. We want to let you know, like we're gonna add a plot for you too, bro. And see how fast he runs.
Yeah,
we're already thinking ahead, son. And you call him son.
Yeah.
Pat him on the show. No, don't call him son. Call him Sport.
Sport.
Listen, Sport. So this is going to be your spot.
Yeah.
You understand?
And you might be the first one to occupy it.
That's right. No matter if it's me or it's you that comes before.
Yeah. Well, imagine how many people y'all could bury with as many locations as y'all have now.
We could bury a lot of people.
Yeah.
I always thought that was like a classic church growing up.
Yeah. But now, if the church grows, you can't do anything. You can't expand. You can't grow.
That is exactly right.
Yeah.
Dude.
Well, the other day you were talking to me about just guys, especially like in leadership and
Oh yeah.
men in general, dealing with like low self-esteem and insecurity.
Yeah.
Start us off today with kind of what your thoughts were with that and kind of what led into that discussion. Not necessarily specifics, but like where was your thinking, where was your mind when it came to that? Because it is a very interesting thing, and it is pretty evident once you see it in someone, once you know, hey, I think that person's insecure. So as we talk to our listeners, as we talk to other guys, start us off with that.
Yeah. So I would say probably since probably mid this year, I've had more men come to me in conversation. I'm just assuming. I never asked them. When I say them, I'm saying quite a lot. I mean, I can honestly say, as I sent this to you for today, I was really thinking through like how many people who all said it. I would probably say at least half a dozen wives pertaining to their husbands and us in conversations with both spouses. Okay. And then probably a dozen men, including situations and us having conversations all collectively. So that's quite a few people this year. But as I thought more on the last several years, like things are kind of coming to light. So in these conversations, just think about insecurity. And when it pertains to men is when you meet someone, you have conversation. Oftentimes men try to, there has been quite a few men who try to, we'd say, flex or like show off to you when you ask about what you do and how you do what you do, or you tell them things about yourself. They want to immediately tell you their credentials. You know they're not really listening to you. It's almost like they can't wait to just jump in. Kind of like a child wants to run and jump into the pool real quick, and you're having to make them wait. Hey, hold up. We just got here. And they just can't wait to get in the water. They're touching the water. They're touching it. They're not listening to you. They're just waiting till you say it, and then they're in the water.
Yeah.
That's how I feel like in the conversations, just like that. And so we're having this like dialogue, and I see immediately low self-esteem, insecurity. On the flip side, I've sat and had some major, pretty frank discussions just about men and them trying to lead their home and them trying to lead their pursue their spouse, and then working at a job that they really don't like, and just seeing. And as we talk about it, say, hey, I think one thing that you really got to wrestle out is your self-esteem. I think there you lack in confidence when you should be confident, but there just seems to be this. Maybe it's a comparison. Maybe we live in the age of comparison with technology and reels and social media and all that stuff. Maybe that's what it is. We used to use the word keeping up with the Joneses, and so I've seen just so much. And then in different situations with women, I've had them express talking about their husbands. And I saw this thing on a TikTok. I'm just going to read it. Just talking about 5 signs of an insecure man, and then we'll just see where this goes. But it says 5 signs of an insecure man on this TikTok video. And it says materialistic. He doesn't have much to offer emotionally, so he brags about the things he has. Competitive, but not in a good way. Feels he always has something to prove to boost his ego. Salesman will go all out to get your heart before you realize what a disappointment he is. Unreliable, which we've hit hard on that over the years. Yeah. Fails to keep his word, but blames you for nagging him. And then last one, accusatory. Accuses you of being disloyal or cheating when that's exactly what he's doing. Now, that obviously is taking a grain of salt, but you take it for what it is. But I would say all those are characteristics of somebody who's super insecure. And so in that, I thought it'd be a good idea for us to kind of talk through that insecurity, and maybe there's a man, or maybe there's somebody that has a friend that they're close to who's insecure, and just how to deal with them and how to make them better. And even for the guy, if he is insecure, how can you kind of get out of that rut? You know what I'm saying? And so that's kind of where I'm at. I think that's a big thing in today's culture with men. And it used to be that where back in the day, towards the late 1900s and the 80s, you would look at another man who had muscles, and you would be very envious, you know. And if you heard a little joke about it or something, you knew they were comparing themselves and they didn't measure up correctly. And so they kind of put them down. But rarely was it that. And so I'm sure I was so little, I wasn't around, but just thinking, like, it just seems like men today are way more insecure than they were 45, 50 years ago. To me, it looks that way on paper. And I know studies will probably show that just based off of, like, you know, you see it now, like low testosterone's a big thing, or it could be money, it's just a lot, you know, that's there. What do you think about all this stuff as you're hearing this? Because we talked about this before, but
on the modern phenomenon of it, I've heard a couple things here lately talking about how our young people today are less self-reliant than we were and before us, because now parents will do more for their kids because they're kind of in home. They're being given video games or iPads to keep their attention. Whereas for us, we were more self-reliant. We went out till dinner time, till dark.
That's right.
We ran the woods. A couple of our pastors were talking about that the other day, how they almost get lost in the woods, you know. And I remember when I lived in Barnwell, South Carolina for a bit, some of my friends and I were going through the wood, and we ended up like on the other side of town. Barnwell's small, but you're like,
shout out to Barnwell.
We're over here. You know, we made it all the way over here, but it was through the woods, and then you had to find your way back. So you were more self-reliant. You know, you twist your ankle running through the woods, you had to find a way to get home. You know, I mean, if it was something serious, somebody'd have to run and get help. But I mean, you just figured things out, which I believe builds a confidence. It builds kind of a responsibility. You learn yourself. You know what you can do. What I've seen a lot, though, in men who struggle with low self-esteem, you know, esteem is like having a high opinion of yourself or confidence in yourself. It's kind of the same thing with insecurity. It's like a confidence in yourself. And what I've seen primarily with men who struggle with that, oftentimes it goes back to a poor relationship with their dad.
Yeah.
So we talk about fitness a lot. And for us, fitness isn't necessarily you got to be a bodybuilder. I mean, you know, being fit doesn't equal that. Now, you may choose to put on more muscle or whatever. That's fine. But what I've seen with a lot of guys who were either physically beaten by their dad or always kind of talked down to, made not to be enough, whether it be in sports or whatever. There are some guys in the gym who some of the biggest bodybuilder guys are trying. It's almost like they're trying to make up for what they lacked. Maybe trying to be tough. You know, my dad might have done this to me, but the next guy's not. You know, I'm going to be big and strong. But when you start talking to them, you can't. The muscle, the exterior can't hide what's inside.
That's right.
And what's on the heart. So, as you've kind of already alluded to, one of the biggest signs of insecurity is almost that false bravado, and it's that ego. And what I have found is that is almost a protectionism. You're putting that out there so people will think more highly of you.
Oh, yeah.
And I think at the end of the day, low self-esteem and insecurity roots back to an identity problem. And it goes back to you don't see yourself as enough, whether it be because you believe the lie of a parent or kids growing up or whatever. So now you are trying to earn the approval of other people. So so people say, well, you know, I have trouble talking in front of a large group, you know, and people would take that as an insecurity. Well, where does that insecurity come from? What's the root of why am I afraid to talk in front of you? Because you might think I didn't do a good job.
Yeah.
You know, I might stumble here or there, I might stutter or whatever, and you might think poorly of me. So what's the root of my insecurity? I want your approval. I want you to think I did well. And so you could relate that to multiple different things where we lack security or esteem about ourselves is I want someone else's approval. So I either need to make myself to be out better than what I am. I have to put out this front and this facade so you think better of me. Because if not, you're going to make me feel less than, not enough, so on and so forth. So that's kind of the root I see of it. But I think I definitely agree with you in the fact that it's grown, and I think that's because kids haven't learned. They've not been put in positions where they've had to learn to be confident in themselves, to feel secure about who I am. I know I could climb that tree because me and my friends used to do that. Whereas insecurity says I don't have that ability to do that, or I feel like I don't have that ability.
That's a good word. Just the whole for kids to kind of figure things out on their own and start develop some confidence in themselves. And I see that a good bit, work with Next Gen Ministries, like parents, they just come in and save the day, and the kids don't have time to like deal with conflict resolution with their siblings or their friend groups. Parents just go immediately. They want to like kind of settle it, or if they don't get playing time with the coach, they go ahead and instead of the kid have a conversation. I was talking to a buddy of mine in his place he owns a restaurant, and we were talking, and I asked about hiring young people, and I said, this is like 2 weeks ago, and I said, do you ever have parents call you on behalf of their children? He said, Shane, you wouldn't believe.
Crazy.
I thought that was I knew it, but I still wanted to know. But I would never do it with my kid. And I told him, I said, I would. You would have me call you with one of my children if they were so sick they couldn't call you, or they were in the hospital. Like that's when I would do it. Other than that, you wouldn't. And I expect my child to follow back up. Hey, if I made the point when they get well enough to where they can say something, they need to say it, handle their business. But I see that same day. I think you're right on that. I definitely it's a culture thing. But men, I've seen a couple recent situations that means that has led to divorce with couples, and in both of those situations, I believe the marriage could be restored with God's grace and His providence and all the things that we need God to show up for. But if the man just had confidence, you know what I'm saying? Like if he would just talk to his wife as if he was confident, and that would in turn make her confident. And it seemed like there was just so much worry. He became so controlling with his wife because he was scared she's going, he tried to control the narrative a whole lot in their home due to the fact that for him, he was in a bad spot emotionally. He had lost a parent, so he was like just in a bad spot. But he stayed in that bad spot way too long. You know what I mean? Like we're saying for years, and used as a crutch. Like she don't know what I'm doing. But he was so low, and his confidence was gone, so insecure. Man, he was like controlling. His wife couldn't really do anything. Think she was gonna cheat on him and all this other stuff. And she was a good woman until the bottom fell out. She filed for divorce, and this individual too, just by the way, doesn't attend our church or anything. So, but they go and wind up meltdown mode. He does, and is doing everything necessary to win her back. I'm saying, but the dude, he is like, and I said, I think it's too far gone. I mean, she was like done. I gave him advice. He called back up, all upset, and it's like on and on. He showed me the cards like he was like so desperate every single day. And me, I'm like, man, a woman, you gotta be a whole lot calm. And I said that to him. I said, man, you gotta be calm, cool, collective, man.
Yeah.
Even if you're sinking, man, you got to be. You can't be crying on the phone, begging her back, trying to like barter with her. Bro, that just spells you're not a man. Right. If that's what she was saying, she needed a man. What you're doing is saying you make all these promises, but they're not man promises. Those are boy promises. And anyway, so yeah, I've seen that. I know you've seen things like that too.
Well, I've seen several. We've talked about this before. How you start watching one reel, and then your algorithm starts showing you very
you
similar.
You and I are kind of on the same algorithm too.
I've been watching from these like ex-CIA people and even some from FBI profilers. And so those videos keep popping up. And one guy was talking about everyone's looking for like one of 6 things when, kind of out of their relationships and things like that. And kind of like you talked about, that person who's ready to jump in and tell you all their credentials and all that type stuff. A few of the things that he says people are looking for, and you can tell right off the bat when you're meeting someone, is how they approach the conversation. So some people are looking for significance. Some people are looking for approval. And so you can listen within their conversation to hear what is it that they're looking for. So if they lead off with their credentials and what they've done and accomplished, what their degrees are in, all that type stuff, they're looking for significance. And then it plays out, other methodology of that person must be looking for this or that. And so it's real easy, and I don't think people really see it. And so I think, and we don't really have time to, and nor are we psychologists to really get into what you need to identify. I think some of that would be negative self-talk, beating yourself up, having a poor view of yourself. There's simple things that a guy can kind of look for as a red flag to go, I'm struggling with low self-esteem or insecurity. And sometimes a counselor is needed to help trace that back.
For sure.
Where did that originate? But I think one thing we could speak very well to are guys who have the mentality that because I want to be accepted by that person or that social group, I've got to be good at what they're good at. So for instance, kind of in high school, if everybody were great basketball players, someone might feel like, well, I've got to be a great basketball player in order for them to accept me.
Yeah.
For them to embrace me and bring them into their group. If not, because they're all great basketball players, I must not measure up. And so I think a lot of our low self-esteem and insecurity comes from, you mentioned it multiple times about comparing ourselves. I'm comparing myself to maybe your skills or your talents, feeling like I have to have those same skills and talent in order to measure up, in order to have value. I would say, and I struggle with this in high school some, I would sit there and I wouldn't interject myself into conversations much. And all my friends around me would kind of be talking. And I had conversations with them eventually about some of this because I would be hurt like, well, y'all didn't even include me, and y'all are all talking around me and stuff like that. And I'm just sitting there. So I guess I'm just not as important or whatever. So I had those conversations. And, it dawned on me one day that, one, if I'm not welcome at a table, then I'll invite people to my own table.
Yeah.
If you don't want me sitting at your table, I'm not going to feel bad about myself. I'll just find other people who want to hang out or want to be around my table. The other is include yourself, not to the place that you're overbearing, but I had to look at my own self and go, did I engage? Did I say something? Did I try to engage any of those people in conversation? Or did I just go, oh, pitiful me. Oh, nobody wanted to include me. Nobody included me. I sat there and nobody talked to me. Well, did I talk to anybody? Or was I looking to just be a victim or whatever? So I think in those regards, we need to really identify like, hey, is there a role that I can play in this? And so now I've really never had a problem. I'm more of an extrovert, but I also feel like I'm not going to force myself on you.
That's right.
And now I have no problem interjecting or including myself. I don't want to get into somebody else's private, personal conversation like, oh, what are y'all talking about? But if a group of people are talking, I have no problem jumping in, and because I feel confident in myself. Not that I'm something great, but I also am not worried, oh, if I say this, they might disagree with me or they might think that's stupid. Well, if you think it's stupid, you think it's stupid.
That's right.
Okay, I think some of your stuff's stupid or, like we don't always agree with each other. We don't always think what someone else says is right or accurate or the most brilliant thing. So that would be my encouragement is like, one, are you dealing with negative self-talk? Oh, Shane didn't say anything to me. He must not like me. They didn't talk to me. They didn't include me. No, Like you've got a role to play in that. And so don't play the victim and don't be the victim. Take the lead and include other people in conversation. Okay, these 3 people at a table of 12 aren't talking to you. Who else is down here not being talked to? Go talk to them. Go build a relationship with them. Go see that, because they may be feeling the same way you feel.
Yep.
And the solution is, engage other people. So that's just some encouragement is don't compare yourself, but also identify, like, am I dealing with negative self-talk and things like that? And then what can I do to change that?
Well, I would 100% agree. I think, man, if I would add anything to it, it would be probably, know what you bring to the table as a person. I think you should do an inventory. I think it's great. Inventories are not bad. I think we need to do an inventory on, like, what do you bring to the table in friendships or any situation. Maybe you're good at this, and this, and as you list out the things that you're good at and that you have a passion for, and you know that you can contribute, not just like to an organization, but to society or even in a friendship and all that. That'll help you, like, look at what you do bring to the table. So it'll actually go, oh man, I'm pretty good at these things. I think that's one thing that I think, because then what I would say then is, like, just do what you do well. Right. And that's what you contribute. So it's like, put on a basketball analogy, if you're a 3-point shooter, they're always needed on a team. But, like, so you need to know what you're good at. Because if you're going to be on the team, you got to know, be confident, shoot that ball, do all that. But if you want to be like everybody else who's high-fiving and dunking and they're doing all this stuff and you can't dunk,
right?
You can feel, like, super low. You ain't going to want to, like, be super timid. There was a basketball player who was Simmons. I'm trying to think of his first name. Simmons. He played for the 76ers.
76ers, yeah. What was his name?
Josh Simmons, maybe, or something. Simmons. He
I know who you're talking about.
He played at LSU, I believe, and he was a phenomenal basketball player. He could shoot, run, jump. He was like a point guard, but he was tall. He had all the skill sets, and then something happened to him to a point where he got hurt, injured. He did not want to dunk the basketball. I mean, this dude's like 6'9", 6'10".
Wow.
When he's underneath the goal, somebody's coming, he's afraid he's going to get blocked. He doesn't even play in the league anymore. But he was like a top 3 pick. So, but something happened to him. And I think about that oftentimes with sports, with athletes, obviously, but you need to know what you're good at and what you bring to the table. And that will really, like, build up a little bit of a confidence. And then I would say this too. I would say, know your identity. You are one of one. There's nobody like you. Ben Simmons. And, like, you're one of one. You're one of one. There's nobody like you. You have your own unique fingerprints. God has designed you. You are not like everybody else that's on this planet. You're one of one. And so think about it from that angle, and figure out what your identity as believers is in Christ Jesus. What He says about us is who we are. And I mentioned before, just dealing with my situation with cancer and how I just didn't feel like myself, don't know who I am and anymore and all that, but I know whose I am, and that's the Lord's. And so I just encourage you just to kind of wrestle that down just a little bit. And I'm like what you just mentioned, Nick, about conversations. I don't insert myself. I like to chill and listen. These days I do a lot of talking, but in my role, but I've learned to be a really good listener more than I have. And I think I've learned more by listening by far. But when you're in a situation, I know that I'm not a really good at X, Y, Z. When people start talking about business and stocks and stuff, bro, I want to be in a conversation, but I want to listen, But I understand I'm not good like that. Yeah. So there's no need pretending, because I can't pretend that well. So, but I'm going to listen and hopefully I become better, know? And so in life, either you become better or bitter. There's no in between. Yeah. And so, but hopefully this has been an encourament to you.
Yeah, and I would add one more thing, especially for younger guys, but it plays itself out with older guys too.
We say young. Boundaries. We say young men like me,
like
and
us,
you?
Like us, like in our 40s.
Okay,
and younger. But you even at our age, there is a form of peer pressure. It might not be the same as in high school, but it's this pressure to do something. And if you lack self-esteem and you're insecure, you're not going to have boundaries because you're going to be swayed by those people that you shouldn't be, even if it's something small that you don't want to do, but you end up being swayed to do it because you lack confidence and the ability to just say no, or I don't want to do that, because you're wanting to win their approval, because that will make you feel better about yourself. So that's the other side of it, is find that confidence so that you can also set healthy boundaries for your own life.
100%. Men, lead your homes, love your wife well, and be confident in the Lord and how He's made you. So,
hey, we'd love for you to represent the Male Cartel, especially if we have benefited you in any way. There's a couple ways that you can do that. One is through our merch. That is available on our website, malecartel.com. You can go up to the menu and hit the merch button, and there's an online store there. And there's hats, t-shirts, hoodies, journals, various different things. And so I get questions all the time from my t-shirts, hats, what's the Male Cartel? And I'm able to tell them about it. So we would love for you to support us in that way. And then how else can they support us?
Leaving a comment, a like, share the podcast if you've enjoyed it, if you've benefited from it, like Nick has mentioned. Please share it, get it out there. It may be encouragement to people.
Yep, it boosts it in the search ratings also through podcasts, and helps us be found by other people who can benefit from the same content that you have benefited from as well. So thank you for listening. We look forward to talking with you some more in the next episode.
Yep, we'll see you.
Get 1% better.
Thank you for joining the Male Cartel podcast. Be sure to subscribe and share to help other men join the cartel. You can also keep up with us on social media and at malecartel.com.